Good day, friends. This is a voice-only video because a face is just a distraction. First of all, thank you for being here. Your presence is very much appreciated. If the content will be of your liking, please consider giving us a like and subscribing. Today we will be talking about, can we really help others, and why do we actually try to? First and foremost, we should analyze if the other person really wants to be helped, and we will further elaborate on this later in the video. We should also frame with intentional clarity what our motives are for helping others. This is a necessary evaluation because selfless and unconditional help is very tasking and demands enormous sacrifices on the part of the helper. To set the record straight from the beginning, if the person doesn't clearly ask to be helped out and you decide to help them in any way, you are obviously acting out of your own judgment and possibly for motives that go beyond the needs of the person you wish to help or assist. They didn't ask for anything. As Jordan Petersen wonderfully theorized, even Jesus had struck friendships with less than immaculate individuals and prostitutes. How dare you judge the motives of he who tries to help a fellow human? I can begin to answer that Christ was a perfect man and you are not. And he had a mission to save humanity and you do not. And he had an emotional strength and power that allowed him an unwanted final sacrifice and you don't. Who can certify that the unwanted help you are forcing on others who didn't ask for it maybe isn't actually doing more harm than good? Unlike the two laws of thermodynamics, it is far easier to go downhill through delinquency than it is to go uphill to stability and virtue. Falling is easier than climbing means that it is easier to help someone because it makes us feel good about ourselves than it is to feel guilty but respect the wishes of the other person even when this makes us feel bad. Meaning he doesn't want to be helped, we feel sorry for not being able to help him, but that's our problem. Let's revert back to the need for one hurting to be asking for help and to have a desire for improvement. Carl Rogers very clearly stated that asking for help is insufficient to manifest one's willingness to recover unless the person demonstrates the wish for improvement. Maybe you want to save thy neighbor because you're strong and generous of noble principles, but it is just as likely, if not more, than you wish to highlight your never-ending reserves of compassion and goodwill. Or maybe you just want to demonstrate that the strength of your character is not the fruit of fate or chance. It is you who chooses to be as you are. Worse, though, would it be that you seek the comparison to the derelict, as that will make you shine even brighter than the feeble light you really emit. We should always presume that we're taking the path of least resistance, as complete and utter selflessness is material for saints. Bluntly said, your depraved criminal activities make my occasional shoplifting seem almost innocent. When we discuss how to bring you back to legality, both of us are convinced that you're giving it your best, and I'm helping you immensely. This is what we convince ourselves of. Not sure it really corresponds to the truth. We falsely believe we are making progress, but in our hearts, we know that the true improvement needed would require far more effort from both of us. Can it be that he who asks for help and openly laments their unfortunate status, he who publicly displays the weight of his suffering, isn't just a clever dude that figured out that complaining about how hard the struggle actually is, maybe noticed that it's actually far less tasking to complain than it is to do something tangible to improve his own situation? In order to be really useful in helping someone, should we not find out beforehand why that person is in dire need of help? Maybe it is someone that we do not have the tools to help, someone that has issues that are above and beyond what help we can offer. Because the worst disservice that we can do to anyone presupposes that their alarming situation is the result of chance or bad luck. If we are implying that the victim has no role in where they are now, if we infer that they have no responsibility about their state, we are implying that they have no power, that they are powerless. This is because if we establish that they have no power in getting themselves into the situation they wish to get out of, we are actually saying they do not have the power to rise, not now, not ever. The power of decisions, the responsibility of decisions must always be granted to all victims. Otherwise, we annihilate their future and their possibility of reacting. When we imply that they have no say in their past, we infer that they will not be able to decide for their future. Is it not more likely that the person we're trying to save found it easier to surrender to difficulties? Giving up in front of an obstacle is the easiest way out. It is my belief that the most plausible solution should be the first one to be investigated. It is quite clear to me that the underlying political incorrectness of such a severe and tranchant judgment by the failure is quite simply much easier to explain and justify. I just did not make it, and no matter how hard I tried, it didn't work for me. Simple and unquestionable. No explanations are required when I give in and I did not succeed, when we choose not to take the long route. It is simple not to elaborate further, and it's the easiest not to worry about how today's decisions will impact us tomorrow. Today's smoker knows that it will be a future problem that he will only deal with at a later date. I feel that your manifested unhappiness is an attempt by the envious you to drag me along in your downfall, because the importance is that we try to reduce the distance between your misery and my normality. The constructive way would be to elevate you to where I am, but entropy pushes me down to your level, and you don't care about how my well-being is affected by that. You just care for that distance to be reduced, not caring how it becomes about. I believe you're taking the easiest way possible to equalize our differences, because I know that I'm also pretending to be responsible for your assistance instead of actually doing something concretely meaningful. And you probably despise me for being successful. Success is a misery until we identify and we clearly state that failing is just the result of a few bad habits coupled with a pair of poor decisions whilst we let time go by. Situations degenerate, but it is human weakness that gives the knockout blow. Therefore, please stop digging your own grave, because I can try to fish you out of a ditch, but it will be far more difficult, impossible, to extract you from the mine well you're digging day in, day out. Back to Carl Rogers, there is no redemption without a will for improvement. This is a mess because in order to save face, I'll go as far as needed into helping even a cause I know is a lost cause. Because helping someone who couldn't care less to be assisted makes me look good. Worse yet, it would be if I were just interested in looking good, helping a lost cause, instead of actually doing something of any actual value, since putting in the real work is far more fatiguing than just saving face and putting the minimum effort. Reaching conclusion, to help, allow being helped, as no one feels more important than he who is called upon to help another. It helps because it allows the helper to come to your level and removes the envy that could demotivate him or her. He could hate you for your success of self-loathe, for not being at your level. This is why, if you want to help someone, give them the opportunity to help you. Because the moment you ask for help, you're giving the man hope of making it too, as you are showing your weak belly. You have become human. You have valued his help in giving him confidence. You have valued them and validated him or her as a person. Again, do not believe that it is easier to be around positive influences compared to destructive ones, because it is not. A good and integer individual is an ideal for others, and it requires tons of courage to stand in comparison to those who are so miserable to be incomparable. Don't judge and refrain from superficial pity. It is just a coping mechanism, and you are far better than that. And others don't deserve it. Peace. This is meant to motivate and inspire, and that is all I have for you today. Thank you. If you appreciate this channel, please consider pressing the like button, subscribing, and maybe sharing with a friend.